Hello and welcome. So in this session, we will see how to create SQL views, and also we will see the option available in views input parameters. So let's see. So let's open our views which we have created in the last sessions. Let's go to our views, open our sales fact view. Let it open. Let's close the left side control panel so we'll have more space. Let's close all other options here and data persistence we have seen. So here we have something called input parameters. So there are currently no parameters available. To do some, please press it. So you can create input parameter by clicking this. Okay, before input parameter, I want to see the data available here. Just go and see the data review. So let's say, for example, we'll sort like ascending order based on store ID. We have like multiple stores here, ST1, ST. If you go down, then like there are multiple stores because we have seen this. Let's now close this and go to input parameters. Let's say I want to see, like I want to define input parameter, like I want to see the data for store 1. So let's click on input parameter here. A persisted view can support only one single input parameter for which a default value is defined. So what it says is, because we have already persisted this view, okay, so it's saying a persisted view can support only one single input parameter for which the default value is defined. It's a warning because we have persisted this view, that's why. So let's do one thing, create a input parameter for store ID. So I'm gonna give technical name as IP, input parameter store ID. I'll say no. There are in the default value help, there are two options like no value help, predefined value from object. So we will see that what the difference. Let's select no value help for now. And store ID is a string. I'm gonna keep it as like 5 length. I can enter a default value. For example, let's say I want to see the data for store 1. It's because of store 1 is ST1. Let's save this. Once you save the input parameter, it's giving some validation messages. One error, one warning. What is the error? Your model contains unconsumed input parameter. Please remove or consume them in order to ensure successful deployment. So we have created an input parameter, but we have not consumed that. So if you don't consume after creating input parameters, it will give some error. So you have to consume or remove. So how to consume this? Because this is the store ID input parameter, and I have given I want to see ST1 store 1 as a default. So how to consume is like, suppose you just, here we have all the values and we have provided input parameter that has to pass through the data where we have store ID, right? So let's say how to consume is click on any one of here nodes. Let's say filter. Once you are here, you know, it will open the expression, like filter expression. If you know the like column names, you can type directly and it will suggest, for example, ST, it will suggest. If you don't know, for example, then click on column so that it will show what columns are, and you can search here or directly find out. So store ID I will select. Since I have defined a parameter, I am going to assign that parameter here. So that when your st1 store which you will pass default, that will assign, that will go through this parameter to the store, and then it will pick the data for that store. So our parameter name is IP underscore store ID is created, and it's taken by default this colon. So let's remove one column and let's see validate. See, the column cannot be identified or found. So when you have input parameter, you have to like you have to put a colon and then assign. You see, if I type I, it's showing IP store ID with colon. So let's select that. Now click on validate. Okay, I don't have any validation errors, and you can also see here all the error messages are gone. Let's click on that. We have one validation message which is a warning, which you can ignore. And you see input parameters have been modified, may break, but we have mapped, so you can ignore this. And I want to see the data preview. Let's click on data viewer. You see, when we click on data viewer, it's giving pop-up saying parameter name value. We have created a parameter name. This is the description. We have given as parameter store ID, and we have given a default value. So let's click OK. So it's giving error. You cannot see data in a view protected by data access control until changes are deployed. So let's save and deploy this view. Ignore the warning, save. And deploy it. So let's wait for the deployment to be completed. Now it's deployed. Click on data viewer. You can see here, let's store one which we have given. Let's do descending order. You see even same. So it is filtered for only store one. So that's how you can define input parameters. And let's say click again. Okay, it's not asking. Let's do one thing. Let's close. Go to our folder. Open the view again and see the data preview. So let it open. Like this, click on data viewer. So it's asking, let's say this time, because we gave default value for input parameter, that's why it's taking st1. I can change this here. Let's say, let's see data for store 10. You can see here, you can see data for store 10 now. So that's how the input parameters work. And let's go back and let's do one more thing. Now let's go to our input parameter again. Click on change. Let's select this. So here we have seen there are two options. No value help means by default it's giving the options like to enter the value like store value. By default it was st1, we changed to st10. So you have to give that, you need to know the store name, technical name. It will not give any input help. Let's say I want predefined value from object. In store ID you have values, right? If you want to give like value help, so you have to choose this option, and object we need to choose as store. So click on add object. So predefined values from an object. Which object? Store. And column you have to choose which column in the store, because we are creating input parameter on store ID. So let's select store ID, and you see these are disabled because in this table show store ID is a string, and you can see here value help is there. It will show you what values are available in the store ID. You can set some default value like store 100. So by default it will show the data for store 100. When you see data preview, you can go inside and change it. Let's see how it will affect now, because we did not change any input parameter name and all, everything same, so it's already mapped. Now let's say save changes, ignore the warnings, deploy it. So you can check here changes to deploy. Once deployed, it will change. See, it's deployed. Now just click on data viewer. So maybe ideally it should it should ask for, let's see, anything. So all fine. Let's close this and reopen, or just click on refresh. Okay, now let's see data preview. You see now, earlier it was not reflecting, but I refreshed the. You see now our default value is coming, and also I am getting value help. I can go inside and I can select the values available in store ID. Suppose I want to see some store 89, I can select, click on OK. See now I can see the data related to store 89 only. So that's how input parameters will work. Now, if you remember, we have an analytical model based on this view. Now let's go to our model folder and open it and see how changes will reflect there. Go to our models folder, open your analytical model. So let's see, there is some validation error. input parameter store are not mapped, and we have no value assigned store ID. So let's see. Let's say how to map that parameter. Let's go to data preview. Okay, there are errors, so it will not show. Go to this one, store ID. What options are there? Store ID, data type, none, function, attributes. Let's go back to our analytical model. Click on filter. Store ID. And this, come back to analytical model, delete this, enter variables. We have it in sales spec view. Enter variable. Okay, I'll check like how to apply that to the analytical model, because we have okay, let's see, fact store. Okay, sorry, I was clicking on the analytical view model properties. So let's click on the view fact. Here you can see set map to our new variable. So now it's gone. Like basically map to this parameter store ID. You have to click. So initially I was on analytical model properties after coming into. So it was not giving the option. You see, earlier it was not coming here, but in the error message it was showing like let's say I'll delete this one. It was showing the parameter. We have parameter on our sales view fact, and we created model based on that view fact. So it's saying parameter of source sales view fact is mapped to non-existent variable. So it was giving error message and saying go to fact source. When I click on fact source, it was showing. We have to come to our view. If you scroll down, you have input parameters, because the input parameter is applied on our view. And here on the right side, you can see map to coming as new variable, and map to which variable, like let's say go to analytical model properties, and you can see here it's already, when you click on map to new variable, it's coming here. So let's click on preview. It's asking for this prompt variable, set variables for sales analytical model. You have to select the store ID. You have a value health. which gives all the values in here, and you can, you can select if you want to see only ID or only description or ID and description, and you can search in, because like suppose if I want to search, uh, I can type ST104, so it gives me, but you can search either description or ID. There are different options. So unbooked means like if there are no transaction data on that store, they will also show here. Or else if that transaction data, because store is a master data, there can be many stores, but it's not mandatory that transactions data is available, like available for that store. So if you say unbooked, all will be shown. You can see multiple pages. Yeah. So let's select our store 100, click on OK. Hit. Let's drag our store ID to rows. You can see only 100 it is showing. So yeah, that's how you can apply input parameters. So let's go back to our model and let's save this. Now we have variable on analytical model. So when you go to, when you like create a story on this analytical model in SAC, it's gonna ask same like pop-up to select the variable. So you have to select the store ID there and then proceed. That's about input parameters. And before going, before closing the session, I want to show one more thing. Let's go to our data builder. We have like two different views we can create. One is graphical views, another one is SQL views. So far, we have seen how to create graphical views. We have created one of type dimension for store, another type we created as fact for sales transaction. There is another called SQL view. Let's go into our folder. Let's quickly create our one SQL type of view. Go to views, and before creating SQL view, what I'll do is I'll go to my view, graphical view. Let's click on data view. Okay, view ST100. Click OK. You remember we were getting this preview SQL. Let's go there and copy this SQL statement. I'm gonna keep that into some notepad. Clear this. Let's close this and just go back. Create a new SQL view. So here, left side, you can see the properties for that view. Let's give some name as sales view fact. This time I'll give this as SQL and standard SQL. There are two options here. You can create SQL standard query or SQL script table functions you can create. Let's go with standard, and I'll say this as fact and measures attributes that we'll see. And what you can do is you can write your select queries here. And let's do one thing. We copy it. Let's paste this. This is we copied from the, what it is doing, select transaction ID, transaction date, store ID, manager, profit, discount, cost, revenue. It's again, taking product name from product dimension, product category, product ID, and we have data access controls and all. Since we copied from the view, and it's selecting from the transaction table by left outer join the product based on the product ID. And we also have an input parameter for our graph. We have created input parameter. So that's why it's saying where condition, where my sales transaction uh, table dot store ID. Store ID column is equal to this IP store ID. Either you can define like let's do one input parameter so that it will ask you to provide the input, or like you can directly assign like let's say ST100. So it will not ask every time, it will show only ST100 stored. Or if you can remove this, like for example, if you remove, all the transactions will come. So right now, let's see, I don't have any errors. Okay, there is an error. Let's do one thing. Let's remove the where condition and see, close, validate. It says valid, and you can see the output is generated here. You can see all the store IDs. It's complete transaction data, 108,000. So that's how you can create SQL views. And if I want to define like condition, let's say I'll just keep it back, do one thing, remove this. Let's say I want to see my store one. To provide that in a quotations, let's validate. If there are errors, it will show. It says SQL is valid. Then I should see the output for all my store one. Click on this. It's valid. Uh, End this with colon. Validate. Let's click on format. So by using format, you can I will get in the proper format. Not sure why the output is coming. Let's do one thing. Let's save this view. Let's click on, or let's deploy also. Let's wait for the deployment to complete. And see here, it's not yet deployed. Now it's deployed. Click on data viewer. You can see I'm able to see data for my store one. I think when we are giving input parameter, we need to create input parameter first, because we have created input parameter for other view, not for this SQL view. Let's do one thing. Let's go and create an input parameter. I will give store ID parameter as store ID. I copied. I'll remove this one. and I'm gonna choose predefined value from the object. My object is store ID store, and the column is store ID, and I don't want to show any default value. Okay, you can also give this some default value by going and selecting. Let's do one thing. Let's select some default value. Let's say ST102. Click OK. And now it is created, and we have used that in the. Let's do one thing. Click on validate. SQL is valid. See, earlier it was throwing some error because we have given this, but we have not created input parameter. Okay, let's see data preview. Yeah, without saving also you can see the data preview. So I can go inside and I can change the store to 106 and see data for my. So that's how you can create SQL views, but you can even provide the input parameters and all. You can do like complex logic also, you can do that here. And that's why this option is provided. If you are not able to do something through the graphical views, you can do. And you also have option for table function. When you create SQL view, either you can create it as standard SQL query or table functions. So let's save this. Apply this here. What we just did is we copied our SQL statement from the previous SQL of sales fact view. You can modify like whatever you want. Suppose if you don't want to see some columns here, you can remove. Or if you want to join with some other based on, like, suppose if you want to join with some store ID store uh, like table, you can do that by joining based on store ID, because we have store ID in transaction. So that's how you can create input parameters for the views, and also you have seen how to create SQL views and apply input parameters for this. So yeah, that's all for this session. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next session.